Hey everyone, it's TB Shores. It is July the 3rd, 2021. It's 11:27 p.m. In this video, I would like to share a dream that I had on June the 29th. I had hoped to share it before now, but I've been seeking the Lord on making sure that I understand what He would have me to bring from this dream, and how He would like for me to go about sharing this. So, I'm just going to start explaining the dream and let the Lord guide as He sees fit on when to explain, and we'll do it that way, okay? In this dream, I was at my house looking out across the left of my front yard, and I was seeing the neighborhood beyond that. So I was looking out across the left of my yard, and I was seeing the neighborhood that was there beyond it. I could see something happening. Sinkholes started appearing, one right after another. They were large, and I saw them form and crumble into the earth. They swallowed up people. I saw neighbors being swallowed and took down in sinkholes. I saw cars and homes being swallowed up by these, and anything in their path. It's like you could see the earth cracking, and then the sinkholes would form, and everything that was within that sinkhole area would just be swallowed up by the earth. It was as if the earth was moving and shifting, taking everything in its path, leaving nothing untouched. Sinkholes kept appearing and were coming closer to my house. When they came into my yard, I saw that they were only on the left side of the yard. The driveway and the road to the right were still passable. So as it came closer, I knew I had to leave. Now, it was at this point, now I want to point out something here about these sinkholes. I could not find anything to describe what I saw. What I saw was the earth cracking and crumbling, which reminds me of a dream I had years ago when the Lord first started giving me dreams. And it's on the website, on my YouTube channel, about how the United States crumbled. It cracked until there was cracks all over it, until the cracks all run together, and then the United States started crumbling away till it was nothing. And that's what this cracking and crumbling reminded me of. I feel like the Lord is showing that this part of, speaking of the front yard, it being in front of us, it was in front of me, so it's in front of us, speaking in terms of nearness. That it's something that we're soon to see. And also, with the word neighborhood, I felt like the Lord was conveying to me, yes, it's about neighborhoods, and it affecting people everywhere, but He was also conveying to me neighborhood as in this country. It's not, this is pertinent to, not that it's not going to happen in other places, but this was kind of speaking more directly to, I guess is one way to put it, the United States. And the fact that it seemed to be pointing me back to the dream I had years ago that the Lord had given me about this country being destroyed. Um, I believe it. I believe that he gave me that so that I would understand it was about destruction coming to this country. Okay. Um, let's see. There's another thing or two I think I needed to point out here. The sinkholes. The sinkholes, like I said, I couldn't find any pictures to represent what I saw. This was something that you just have to see it. And it was very destructive, and it was just like one right after the other. As quick as you saw one start crumbling and collapse and take everything with it, another one would start. And I feel like what the Lord was conveying there is this is about destruction that's coming. And there will be many events, different events of destruction, just one right after the other. Okay. I've been seeking him on this on and off ever since I had the dream on the 29th, and today was the first day that I had just quiet time completely alone to where I could just sit with the Lord and go over this and ask him and talk to him about it. And I think it is speaking to these things that I've mentioned here. And I want to point out as well about when they started coming closer to my house, and I could see that the destruction was falling on the left, okay, and the right way was clear. It was passable. This is speaking to what we see in Scripture about what the left represents and the right represents as far as those who know the Lord and those who do not. Okay, those who know the Lord, God will provide a path for those on the right, those who have sought him and are of him. Those on the left are not of him, and they're going to see this destruction. They're going to be in this destruction, I guess is a better way to put that. They're going to be in this destruction, experiencing it. It is going to affect them in a dramatic way. Okay, so when it's not to say that we're not going to see it, because clearly in the dream I was seeing it. Now keep in mind, I don't feel like I represent me. I feel like I represent a group. And as I continue in here, I think you'll understand. Okay, so we talked about the left and the right. Okay, and as it come closer to the house, I knew that it was time to leave. I went inside where my husband and my 4-year-old grandson were. I gave my husband shoes to put on my grandson while I put on my shoes. It was at that moment I began praying. While praying, I knew what was happening outside was becoming worse and would be harder to get through. It was a knowing that I had as I prayed that everything was getting worse and it was going to make things much more difficult. As I prayed for the Lord to help us and guide us to safety. While I was praying, I knew in my heart I was to not be fearful. I was to not be afraid, that no matter how bad things became or how hard things got, that God would make a way. We were just to trust in that and rest in that we knew. And in the dream as I prayed, it's like I had this peace. And I knew things were getting worse, but I still had this peace. And I knew that it didn't matter how bad things were getting outside, that God had a plan and he was going to take care of me and my family. that he would make a way. Okay. Now, as I prayed that, I knew this, and I knew that we just had to trust him, that that was the answer. Okay. The next thing I recall, we went to the right end of the house, and there was a door there. Keep in mind, well, I guess I need to explain. There, in my house, there is no door at the right end of my house. Okay. In my notes here, I wrote that there was a door, the right end of the house, a door that had not existed before. Okay, because even in the dream, I'm like, but there's no door at the right end of my house. And when we looked out the door, outside, I saw what looked like a river flowing right up alongside the house, right up against the house. And in that river was this big chunk of earth that looked like it had come from a sinkhole. And it was just floating in this one spot in the river, creating like a platform, a big, huge platform, like a bridge, was positioned right there in that river. Now, this river, it looked more like, how would you say, a section that had opened up and there was water flowing in it. More of the destruction, okay? But what the Lord showed me about this door appearing and this chunk of earth in this water that seemed to be flowing where the earth had opened up was that, just as I had in my dream, in my prayer, in my dream while I was praying, I knew God would make a way no matter how bad it got outside. And that's what this represents. The door that was not there before, he made a way, a doorway for us to be able to get out, okay? He made a way for us to get out and to escape this destruction. Just like with the chunk of earth that was floating in this river type place. It's like this big crack had opened up in the earth and there was water flowing, and there was this big chunk of earth that made like a bridge from the house to the open part where it provided us a way of safety. So what the Lord was showing there is he made the way. As things were getting worse, he did make the way, just as I had thought when I was praying. Now, I want to back up just a minute, and I want to give mention to, well, before I do that, I just want to recap just a little bit. These sinkholes are about destruction that's coming and how it is going to continue to come, one right after the other, one on top of the other. That's what I'm understanding. And it is going to take everything with it. When these destructive events are going to take with them everything in their path. And that made my mind go rushing to Hebrews 12, where we see the Lord mention that everything that can be shaken will be removed, or that the only thing left is that which cannot be shaken. And that is about spiritual things. Because when these things begin, when the Lord sets this end time plan into full motion, and these things begin, it is only the things of the Spirit that will stand, the things we have stored up in heaven, that we have, our spiritual treasures, our foundation in the Lord that we have built up is the only thing that will stand. It is the only thing that will get us through. That's what the prayer was emphasizing, that our faith in the Lord It's the only thing that will get us through. And before I close this, I did want to explain about the shoes. The shoes for me and my 4-year-old grandson. My grandson represents the innocent ones. I represent a group, the first group, the first fruits. I don't say that pridefully, by no means. I'm just saying that's what I represent in this dream. And it's about, the shoes are about, they're leaving. They're leaving. Because our shoes are the last thing that we put on before we leave. I feel like the Lord was showing through this about the shoes that it's time to go. It's time, that last thing that's needed for the innocent ones in that first group is represented in the shoes. And the shoes means it's time for them to go. And I'm going to cut this off here. If you would, please take this to the Lord. Ask Him to guide you in understanding. I pray that we are all seeking the Lord so that we may be grounded in Him and know that when these things begin, that He is the one that will provide the way. He will make the way, just as He made the door in the end of the house, okay? At the right end. That's significant. I think y'all know what that means. But He made the way. So we've got to understand when these destructive things begin. We are so near to the going, and we just need to rest in Him. Trust Him and rest in Him. And I'm going to cut this off here. I love y'all. Bye-bye.